Yeah.
Oh, there's one. They're very fragrant. You smell like outside. That's what it
I do?
Yeah.
This smell like man.
Okay. Boop. Boo-dee-dee-boo-boo.
I want to see if I can go like that.
Slim pickings for seats. So find your way. Doop. 3, 2.
I have pressed the button, and on that note, we shall begin. So, hello, welcome. Thank you for being here, family and friends. So tonight, this evening, is about creativity and consistency. And anyone knows that sometimes being creative can be a challenge? Oh, we got one too over here. Yeah, creativity can be a challenge. We often make it a bigger deal than it is. So to begin with, I'm going to have you take a moment, and I'm going to have you close your eyes. Unless you don't want to, this is free. You don't have to. Close your eyes, and I want you to stand on the hilltop called You Are Creative. You might know you're creative, great. If you don't know you're creative, you're going to stand on the hilltop called I'm Creative. And in a moment, I'm going to have you open your eyes, and it doesn't have to be big. What's a little movement you can do that you've never done before? It could be a wiggle of your pinky. It could be a twitch of your nose. Whether you do it or not, I don't actually care, but just notice what happens at the thought of it. So I'm gonna count down from 3. It's okay if you have no idea what you're gonna do next. It's kind of the fun of it. So take a huge deep breath in. And then when you exhale, you're gonna do something you've never done before. Open your eyes. Was that awkward or what? So that's what we're talking about. And it can look in a bunch of different forms. It can look like writing a book. It can look like exercising. It can look like painting or drawing. Creativity shows up in so many ways. It can look like when you're driving in traffic and you're feeling so annoyed by it, how do you be creative so that you're not filled with hate and rage at everyone around you? It's kind of a game you can play. So, I'm about to introduce the master, in my opinion, of creativity, of reinvention, of not being stopped by all the things that can stop you when you are going to create something. My wonderful husband, creator of Yoga Better Style, Andrew Dugas. Come on.
Yay.
So, hi.
We just sat right down.
We did. I'm Ketchup.
Yeah, my initials are ART, so this is mustard.
Oh, I didn't even see that. That's pretty bad. So,
I think I'm louder.
are you louder? I think you're deeper, so it doesn't matter.
That was deep. Hi. Yeah.
Yay. Okay. So to begin, I'm going to do a little different than I have written down here. We are going to interview this guy. And so let's find out from the source here. So what have you created recently? There's a long list, I'm guessing, or a big list, or a short list.
What have I created recently? I didn't get access. I lived with her, but I didn't ask her what questions she was going to ask.
He did not want the questions, so here we go.
So, the thing I created most recently was I set this whole room up today. Thought about what would look cool up here. Sounds like, really look cool, our podcasting table that I made. And I thought it would look even cooler if I ran all the sound through this so you'd see all the lights, but then it didn't sound good, so I didn't do that. And then I reversed, basically 20 ideas I had didn't happen. And then I set up the video and the sound.
Very cool.
And then I just took a nap. So I created rest. That was the thing I created most recently.
Most recently. And so can you share with us, for you, what does creativity mean?
First of all, let me get your opinion. Does this look better?
Really?
What do you think now?
Oh, I just realized that you're mustard and your shirt yellow. That's pretty cool.
I had options. I might have gone pink today. You approve?
I do, I agree.
Okay, good.
This is one of the things that I really like about Andrew. When we went on some of our very first dates, and he sort of walked out of the room, there was a part of my brain that was like, yikes, it's you walking out of the house like that. Because there was no matching happening whatsoever. I mean, it was like as odd as you can be. But it works, as you can see. It's so happy.
Your dress inspired me.
We're both colorful. Okay, so,
Okay.
what is creativity to you?
So, can I answer where it comes from?
Sure.
To describe the process. I really appreciate, not like spiritual or religious, but I love studying thinking. And when you look at how the Taoists view all things, anybody a fan of lineage? Yeah? Do you go back and look at your ancestry.com stuff?
Probably once a month.
That's cool.
What?
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not that cool, but I love the idea of where do ideas come from. So you have an idea to marry somebody, or have babies, or start a business. It's one of the reasons I love business, because it's just a creation from nothing. The Taoist view that if you could look at a thought and trace where that thought came from, at some point it's nothing. At some point, there wasn't And part of the idea behind meditation is you're kind of just sitting there. So I'm going to sit, and all the thinking I have, we love thinking, big fan of thinking, but what if I took all the sort of mechanical thinking and just set it on a shelf and just sat with no thought? And it turns out that's a really great place to create from. Anybody overwhelmed by blank canvases?
We just talked about that.
She did.
I missed that.
Well, it was Minoshina. We talked about it specifically, like canvas. Oh, it was Larry too. So, but yes.
So the blank page. So has anyone ever noticed that it's easier to edit something than create it? Yeah, it's much easier to critique something than author it. So the blank page is the scariest part of any creation, and it's my favorite part. And but it is the scariest. So if you can be comfortable with nothing, then you get to make stuff up. So for me, creativity is that process of going from I don't have a thing to a thing. And it sounds so silly, but business is that. Like you wiggle your fingers on whatever legal Zoom. We're talking about LLCs. And you create a business that can put food on people's tables that totally didn't exist before. It's just like an entity that is totally made up. You guys know that businesses are made up? You guys know that money is made up? Like it's all just like a creation. So for me, creativity is the expression of my favorite question. You know my favorite question.
What do you want?
What do you want? So that's my circuitous answer. So creativity ultimately is a comfort with standing in like that empty nothingness of the blank page or the empty canvas, and then being really curious with myself, what do I want? Thank you.
Yes, we do all night. So, one of the things that we haven't said just yet is that part of what has us all be here is that one of the things he created is the style that we teach, called Yoga Better. If you're not familiar with it, it's a little different than what is you typically think of as yoga. And I'm curious for you, what was the process like for you to create something new in that way?
What was it like? Painful, scary.
Well, so real quick, so he just said painful and scary. It sounds like he's joking a little bit. Are you?
No.
Yes, no, he's not.
No.
It's scary to create something new.
So painful, like I don't know about you, but I really like knowing stuff. I like having the right answer, and if you don't know, that's very uncomfortable. And the quick lineage, the process of how it got developed, I got really lucky. I took my very first yoga class with one of the most important teachers of the 20th century, a guy named Robert Bustani. And absolutely brilliant in many ways. And I was super lucky to start with somebody so creative. Robert, basically taught himself yoga in a vacuum in Louisiana. There was one book in his library in rural Louisiana. And what he did is everybody's his teacher. So he's learning from everybody. And going to his class, hey, come on in, we have to start over. Let's start the
Let's see that in an instant replay.
I got many, many gifts from Robert. One of them was that the class itself, there's nothing sacred about teaching a class. There's sacredness like that I'm communicating with you, but there's no structure that's the best structure. So Robert was very comfortable improvising every class he taught. And I liken that, that's how we teach in this style. We don't script anything, we walk into the room like a blank canvas. If I see you as a yoga better teacher with a little cheat sheet, I take it. And that's mine now, and now teach. I pay attention to the people in the room and teach. And what that requires, of course, is that you trust yourself. And Robert really instilled that's just like, yeah, trust yourself. You're doing great, just teach. And in that space, I kept getting injured. So I came to yoga, it really helped me, but every month something would go twang. And herniated disc, torn everything, there was a tear in every joint. And so the scary part was, I knew that yoga was good for me, but I know that this is better for me. The only way to move that I know. And so, has anyone ever been injured? Yeah. When you're,
in this room.
I mean,
Well, we do have a 12-year-old, so
he's
we
been
have the best
injured.
shot.
I remember him. I have students that come to, like, they'll take their very first lesson, they're like, why are you here? Why are you doing yoga? It's like, I turned 70, I'm getting a little stiff. Like, okay, that's not me. I was in pain since I was 10 years old as a musician.
I was just going to say, for those of you who don't know, he was a classical musician. He played the upright bass.
Double bass, contrabass. When you're on this side of an injury, like you have an injury, you haven't figured out how to relieve the problem or feel better, have any hope that it could feel better, that's super scary. And for me, the experience was like I'm trapped in a body that I don't trust. And then I don't know how to move in the world. And the only place I know that kind of gave me any relief was the place that's giving me most of my injuries. So it was like that. I didn't really have a reason to believe that there was a way to solve my problem. But I had so many profound experiences in the beginning with yoga, going from a super unhealthy person to just like somebody who could do handstands and stuff like that. I just trusted that, okay, I don't know how to solve the problem called have my knees work, have my back work, be able to breathe again. And the thing that changed, and the thing that's so different about this conversation that we engage in with this style is, it occurred to me that I didn't know what I was talking about. I've been teaching for 10 years, I cannot tell you how the back works, I can't tell you how the knee works, and just really acknowledging my ignorance.
Can we just pause on that for a second? I feel like that's I really do. So I have 3 of my 4 children here. My oldest is 22, this is Caravaggio. Egon Caravaggio is 12, and Bodhi's back there, 15. And I feel like it's one of the things I really learned from you, and I feel like we try to create for everyone, is that it's okay not to know. And so just for you right now, if there's a part of you that feels like you need to know and have things figured out, first of all, can we all acknowledge that you didn't know you were going to be here right now? You guys definitely didn't know you were going to be here right now. This whole section of it, like, I'm here now. And that is life. It's like we feel like we should know, like if you think of like taking a test. You're supposed to know information, and there is some validity to that, like to study and then learn, but most of life doesn't happen like that. Most of the life, you're like plugged from those circumstances and you find yourself in a new one, and sometimes that's great, sometimes that's less great. But just to create the realm that we're kind of looking at right now of what is required for creativity is you have to be okay and in the dance with not knowing. And we always are. And mostly, it's okay to not be present to that. But if you're ever working on something, which I feel like I've witnessed him, he is not a person for me that doesn't know stuff. Andrew is for me someone, he knows everything. Everything, like just random stuff. I'm like, do you know this? Like, why would I know that? I don't know, it just feels like you would know. But just looking through in your life, like where are you pretending to know stuff right now and it's actually getting you in trouble? And it's actually a barrier between you and everyone. I had this experience with Bodhi, actually, a couple days ago. We were driving in the car, he picked up his phone and looked at his phone. And we've been in this dance where if I see him on his phone, I try not to say it all the time, but it's all the time. So how do I deal with this, right? And so he seemed to get annoyed. He put his phone down, and they went to show me something, and I just was trying to be a teaching moment, a knowing mom here, guilty. And I was just like, look, just notice you didn't even think about it, you just picked your phone up again. And then instead of showing me the thing, he just set the phone down. And my interpretation of that was, you little so-and-so, I'm doing everything for you, like, please hear how much I love you, like, I'm trying to create a win-win here, blah, blah, blah. But I was able to catch myself and actually say, actually, I don't know what he's thinking right now. I have no idea. I just made a bunch of stuff up that might be true, is likely to be true, but also may not be true. The long story short, I checked in with him. I was wrong. what he was doing is he was hearing my concern, he was actually getting action about it, he just had a face that I didn't resonate with. I interpreted that face to be grumpy teenage boy. And when I asked him and he shared with me, there was a little tense moment, but we just like shifted. I created a connection because I was able to say I don't know. And so I find it to be a really helpful place to stand when you're doing anything, because right now, I literally don't know what I'm gonna say. I have no idea what I'm about to say. You know how we did that experiment in the beginning, like close your eyes, think of something right now. And as I'm talking to you, I'm like, what am I gonna say next? I don't know. I'm being creative, yay. So I just wanted to kind of highlight that. So I don't know where you were in your sentence. You do, okay, good. That's the difference between us.
It's one of my favorite things that if you come to Andre's class, you're like, I don't know what I'm going to teach next.
It's a very fun
What's my
game.
brain going to say? And we're all kind of actually there. We just, like, the difference, when I first met Andre, the difference was I have 17 filters because I need to sound smart. And she has no filters, and it's way more fun like this. Like, oh, I can just, like, say stuff.
My filters are all delayed. They're like after the fact.
It is that actually wakes up. So like, I'm injured. Anyway, it's not, to me, the fear was, first of all, like leaving home, like flying from the nest. I really love Robert, but having to like start fresh, start new, not knowing that something was going to make a difference, and first acknowledging that I didn't know what I was talking about. Second, realizing that we can actually just test stuff, and that the thing, this is the 90s, like where the internet is becoming a thing. We hadn't yet entered the golden age of learning that we're in right now, but science has been around for a long time. What I tell people is I'm not a scientist, but I love thinking like one. And what a scientist is somebody who devotes their life disproving their favorite ideas.
I really love that so much.
It's the craziest thing ever. Like,
Especially because we're in a world where we're seeing, not individually maybe, but collectively, it's like we're all trying to prove something to somebody, which prevents us from actually getting somewhere helpful.
yeah. So using, basically trying to become a scientist about what worked and didn't work in my body, I had lots of poses. I've been practicing for a long time, teaching for a while. I just put everything on the table, and the creative. And so, when you would you say that? Does anybody like math? Is math creative?
Well, I just thought of origami. Origami is like math, so that's fun.
People that probably don't like math probably sees it just as literally formulaic. But
So constraining. I feel so boxed in by 2 + 2. I wanted to be 6.
it's but there is a way that, like, being able to see things freshly, being able to find ways to put handles on or describe things newly, like math. You can use math as a way to just like understand. It's like she talked about with standing on a hill. I can stand on a hill called mathematics and actually understand the world in a pretty profound way. Not good at math yet.
That was not the question, correct? It was, do you like math? How are you good at it?
Don't like being bad at math. So literally I just start testing. So can we find the stuff that works and doesn't work, and fast forward 20 years, we have a new style. Actually, we didn't have a new style. You know why we have a new style?
Why do we have a new style?
Because Andre is like, we need a style. We had done, I think it was like the 3rd or 4th teacher training we'd done, and I'm like so artistic, so creative.
So angsty.
It's not going to be a style. It's definitely not going to be the Andrew show. It's like pure. And she's like, we have all these teachers. They want to know what the heck to call their classes.
No, I was like, did I do correct now? I remember I
What do we call it? She just wanted a name, so we named it. And it was fun. I love creativity too, because when you are actually trying to solve a problem, you're creating a solution from nothing. And what's step 1 for solving any problem? Anybody know? Identified problem, excellent guess. Incorrect.
Your starting point,
Huh?
what your starting point is.
So like locating yourself on the imaginary map of your life, love it?
Oh, darn it, we got two wrong numbers.
You got this.
Everyone take a deep
I've
breath.
been in the teacher training.
You made it through.
One more guess.
Just for the record, I have so many moments of being in situations like this where I really should know the answer, but I'm a little doubtful that I do.
She's taken my teacher training 16 times. Yeah.
It's so fun. I highly recommend it. Over and over again.
This is, first of all, notice what your brain went to try to get the right answer. That's what you do when you create. Like if you actually want to know thyself, it's when you have a problem set in front of you, whatever, it could just be something simple. What is the reflex? And if for some of you the reflex is like, well, I don't know.
Someone else will.
We just did a graduate course, and one of the graduates just kept saying, "I don't know." Like, yeah, none of us know. We have to like do this. Think about it for 2 seconds before he's like, "I can't do it. Don't know." That may be like you're a little disempowered when it comes to like weird quizzes on the spot Saturday night. Some of you are like, "What is it? I know the answer." Some of you who graduates are like going through your Rolodex. I know it.
Where is it?
So here's how I define it. Step one to solving any problem. You have to know you have a problem. If you don't know you have a problem, you can't identify it, you can't troubleshoot it, you can't put it in context, you can't plan out the next 3 years to do anything about it. What does being wrong feel like?
Delightful.
What do you say?
Yikes.
Yeah, yikes. Everybody knows what being wrong feels like. You just worded it. Everybody knows what feeling. Yeah. Okay. So everybody knows what feeling wrong feels like. Any other descriptors? So yikes. Anything else?
Nauseated.
Nauseated.
Regretful.
Ugh. That's a good one. Oh, panic. Yes. He's just taking like a million tests. Must graduate. Shane?
Oh,
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Oh, did anyone say embarrassed? Okay, yeah. I think embarrassment is definitely my flavor.
So, that's what it feels like to realize you're wrong. That's not what it feels like
Can
to
we like, I don't know.
That's not what it feels like
Say
to
that
be wrong.
again? Can you say that again?
embarrassment, shame, ugh, panic, overwhelm, upset, fight or flight, is what it feels like to realize you're wrong. That's not what it feels like to be wrong.
Do you know what this means, you guys? Do you understand the implications of this? You're wrong and you don't know it. I'm just walking around like.
Take a deep breath. This is what being wrong feels like. That's something. You just haven't realized it yet. And so the style was a creative act, solving the problem of like, how do I move my body like I don't, raise your hand if you've ever done Ashtanga yoga. Okay, Ashtanga yoga, hardcore. When I took my teacher training, the assignment was 6 days a week, Ashtanga first series. That's a 90-minute practice. I could do it in 47 minutes. It's really fast. I was so hardcore. That's like crazy town, hardcore yoga. And then I go to teach a class, and you have these people who can't get in a chair. How are you gonna?
Can you say what you mean by can't get in a chair?
Can't get on and off the floor. Can't take their arms over their head. Can't rotate their head. Everybody TikTok your head. This is them. And I'm like, okay, let's do vinyasas. Let's jump into handstand. And I was confronted with all I know is X, and it doesn't work for anyone, any normal human being. And then any modifications I know here still doesn't work, or I notice it doesn't work for me either. So the first question was, how can I move without getting hurt? And then how can I create an environment where people can get all the benefits and reduce the risk? You can't be injury-free the rest of your life. That's not on the table. But can we create an environment where it's actually safe to explore the edges of what your body can do? And raise your hand if you've everyone else has done the yoga class. Let me describe
There
what
might
it's
be
like.
someone watching who's not done yoga class, but,
Oh, sorry. Raise your hand.
no, to
If
say,
you-
but, there may be someone else, you're not alone, is what I'm saying.
You're alone. You're the only person in the world. Okay, so let me describe to you what it's like. You go into a strange place at a kind of convenient time, but not really. It's like 15 minutes off. And you literally trust a stranger with weird movements with your health for 1 hour. And just like hope you survive. That's your first yoga class ever. The fact that any of you did it is insane. It's insane. And a lot of the times, huge majority of the times in a city like Houston, that experience is horrible. It's a horrible experience where I either do get injured or I don't feel safe, or the teacher was like weird and pushy, and
Or grabby.
could be pushy or pulley. They could have used pulleys. And so the goal was, I want people to progress. I want you to, if you want to do a handstand wherever you are on the map, get better at handstands over the next 10 years. Which means you can't get hurt. If you can't get hurt every time you go to yoga class, it has to be safe. And just like everything I was taught was dangerous. So what does it look like to basically start over? And for most of so now it's a very different world. I think you'll find most yoga classes don't teach a lot of shoulder stands and headstands. Still some cat. You'll find cat, but we don't teach that either. But in the good old days, for 10 or 15 years, most yoga teachers in the city would agree I'm not a yoga teacher because I didn't teach the classical inherited stuff. I only taught what worked and taught what I found was the best. To answer the question, how can, if you come to an hour, this random place, weird teacher talking, you feel better when you leave, and you feel better next year than you would have otherwise. And the second you put it like that, everybody wants that. And the way it was sort of contextualized for me, like, come to yoga, you'll get enlightened. Okay, I guess that's good, yeah.
Awkward silence.
Mm.
My next question for you is, so all the stuff you sort of pointed to just now, first of all, brilliance. This guy, yeah, really.
pointed at him.
Oh, you did, okay, and all these people here, all of you have been officially pointed out, and you're brilliant. You do. So, would you say that, as far as let me see how many times I can say so over and over again, or but edited. Would you say that is what drove you to create the Yoga Better movement manual?
What's the that in the question?
All the stuff you just said. You just created a bunch of beauty around what had you develop a new style. And you have done a lot of work to create accessibility for people to teach the style. How many teachers have we taught?
It's over 300.
Wow, that's so great. That's amazing. Yay! We began in 2014, and you have had this information in pieces for a while now. But there's something new about these moments that we're in right now that you have chosen to. I mean, the reality is, is anyone excited about writing? Just like, I just want to write. Like, people exist that like writing. I only want to write if it's like, I'm the one who's going to read it. So, you like write? Okay, great. That's awesome. So, edit it again. A little too late for that edit. Where was I? Oh, watching him sit and create from nothing is, to me, it's just such a heroic thing. To have the generosity, and this is, you can look at this in a bunch of different ways, I think, but I think for me, as not a writer, I really value those who take their time to write. and further write so that other people have. So there's a way in which all that you've created up until now, including this book, which we are so excited, I'm so excited for this book to come out. I feel like it's, in the words of Tracy Chapman, she's talking about revolution, oh yeah. I feel like it's going to give so many people access to their safety and their health, and I'm just like, I'm blown away at how generous you are with your willingness to suffer for other people to be free. So my question is, with that being said, right now you've been working on this for a while. How long have you been working on this? It says life works, guys.
Basically,
Yeah. So since '96 it began.
yeah. The book is a book of everything I know about human movement. So for the teacher training, there's 4 various size books: an anatomy text, a pedagogy book that's already been self-published, a little business booklet, and then the biggest thing is the postures, the movement, how to be healthy, how to breathe, what is meditation, all that, just everything about the practice. The main writing started in the teacher training, the first teacher training in 2014. And I will definitely die early from that. People have badgered me for years to do teacher training. And I said, yeah. And then there's a woman named Maria here who started studying with me at 16. And then she went off to college. And every year she's like, when are you going to do teacher training? I'm going to totally take your first teacher training. I'm totally going to do it. And I told her, I'll do it in June of 2014. And in June of 2013, she said, I just took off my sophomore year of college to take your teacher training in June of 2014. And I said, oh no, I have to do it. It's not talk anymore. And I was writing. Basically, I would sit and I would write, and every fiber of my body was like, get up and do anything else. And I would sometimes listen. But for me to finish that, I was writing the content every week until the end. So it was a year and a half of basically every 5 to 7 days a week. To answer at least a section of that question, so one of the ways you can ask the question is, where does motivation come? Anybody like to be inspired?
Isn't that nice?
Inspiration.
Entertainment.
When I was a musician, as an artist, as a classical musician, like so serious. And I was at the Aspen Music Festival playing with like John Adams, the composer, was there with Emmanuel X. And I was sitting at a talk with John Adams, and he went on and on about it. He didn't trust inspiration. And I'm like, this idiot. I'm 60. I totally know more than this famous, revolutionary classical music composer. And what he was saying is, I don't trust inspiration. I just write, gotta do it. And at that time, I was so reliant on inspiration. Guess how much I got done? Basically nothing. Almost nothing. And he told the story of Richard Strauss, if you've heard 2001, The Space Odyssey, the main theme for that. When he assigned his wife the job of locking him in the attic until noon. He wasn't allowed to come out until he composed until noon, and then he was allowed to come out every day. That was his job, was to every day do the work. And so I'm a huge fan of games. So, and just playing with motivation, from whence does motivation come? What I can tell you is the least reliable source of motivation is inspiration. What do I feel like doing today? So we have to have sort of higher level commitments. And so the first commitment was the teacher commitment. I'll just make up a game called, I'm going to do a course. No, it's unlike anything that's ever been done. It's the thing that's missing that sort of fits in the world of yoga, the thing that's not present, that's not available. I'll just create that from nothing. I said I would do it, so now I have to do it. Fantastic motivating factor. Peer pressure. You guys want to hear what's motivating me writing this book right now? The number
Oh,
one,
please, tell
the
us.
number one motivating factor.
Let's hear it. Oh, okay.
You. What is he gonna say? So I just turned 44. I love looking at how people react when I say I'm old now. Oh, the average age of people we teach is over 75, so freak out. It's so good. Not old. I teach a bunch of 90-year-olds, and I support them. And like, how do you come up with the energy to like keep practicing yoga, keep showing up to class, keep doing that remodel of your kitchen, or whatever it is that you're excited about, that next trip. For me, the book is an answer to the question, if I died right now, I'm on my deathbed, and I look back over my life, what would I be so embarrassed that I hadn't finished? And it sounds like such a silly thing, but what I noticed is I turned 40, and I didn't feel old at all, but I noticed every game that worked in my 30s and 20s didn't work anymore. Every whip I used to motivate myself to write didn't work. And so it actually took me a few years to just like, what's gonna have me show up every day and work on a thing? And that was the thing. I'm not particularly motivated by embarrassment, but I hope you can hear that asking, what would I be embarrassed if I hadn't finished right now, I was actually asking, what is my life for? What's the purpose of this one shot that I have? It's a backdoor question. It's a deathbed question. It's a very powerful heuristic, mental model, a tool you can use. But it took me. Before I came up with it, like I was sort of lost for a couple of years, and so the book is a collection of tools that I know that work for the body. And when we talk about creativity, you need to have a bunch of tools in your toolkit. One of them is commitment, consistency, accountability. Tell your friend that anybody want to get good at running? Have a running buddy. And then they show up at your house and bang on your door and make you go running. Like that's how you get out of the house of heat. When it comes to actually creating something from nothing, you got to find the thing that's going to motivate you now in this moment of your life. Knowing that, like your diet, has everyone noticed that what worked for you 10 years ago doesn't work for you now? So, but you actually have to keep creating, keep generating, keep solving the problem that you identify. You notice that there's a problem. Oh, my eating or my sleep is weird, or I need to get better being a husband. I think I might not be a good father. Okay, I'll work on that. So, things like that.
Okay, I think what we're gonna do in a little momentary intermission is that, would you share with us one of the, so for example, one of the postural resets that you have in your book?
You been teaching yoga?
Yeah, I want you to teach some yoga. I mean, we're all sitting here, we're slouching. This one over here is a super sloucher right here. Super sloucher, yeah. But just to like have us, I really feel like one of the things that gets us all into trouble is that we have ideals that are very unhelpful. And I feel like celebrating all the little moments that we, earlier I started to have like, oh, what am I gonna say next? And you know what I did? I took a deep breath and I said, it's all good, self, you're gonna be fine. And so finding a way that you can take a little moment in your life and actually create a better you, it's like this. It doesn't take a lot of time. And it's a bunch of these little moments that you collect together. Then all of a sudden, it's like I was telling Egon, he's going to be a senior in college this year. It's insane. It feels like I don't know how that happens, and I totally know how that happens, and I want it to happen because I want you to grow big and be strong, but also like, ugh. And this is what I told myself when I was in college. College is going to pass. Those moments are passing. What will I have to show for it after it? And I don't have an opinion, hard opinion about college or not college. I totally do, but I'm also, I know that we all have different paths. But if time is going to pass, what do you want to have on the other side of it? And I feel like these kinds of things that you have in the book, for example, and I will say that part of what I love about what you create and what you have created is, first of all, you bring everyone with you. You're not a secret keeper. You let everyone in, like, these are all my secrets, all the things that you could keep to yourself and exploit to whatever degree. You're like, no, I want, like, one of the things that's very popular in a yoga studio is that you don't allow your yoga teachers that work for you to teach private lessons or to take your students. And that's not how we roll. If we have teachers that teach at our studio, because first of all, you can't teach that many classes in the studio, right? Like, how do we support them being successful in lives? So, all that is to say, little moments make a difference, and we get to celebrate those moments because they matter. And with that being said, let's have a little bitty moment together.
Tiny bit of yoga. All right, so let's not do handstands.
You're gonna take your left foot, wrap it around your neck.
So one of the worst things you can do is sit in chairs.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. We really set you up. You guys got the patty ones. The black pants are really comfortable, aren't they? Oh, so good. Sorry.
Well, they have pads though, right?
They do have pants, but the black pants
And you want to have, you must pass one to you.
So we don't keep secrets. There are, the goal is to, like, we feel very wealthy here. The goal is to die poor, to die broke. We don't want to take any of this. You can't take it with us. So the way we describe, like, the transmission of what we know is, and this is super exciting for me. I work hard to be the most knowledgeable person in the room, but that's my ceiling. And when you study with somebody in this space, like, they're all building on that. That's their floor.
Can you say that again? Because I think that's pretty.
My most brilliant insight is every teacher I teach is beginning point.
Can confirm. It's pretty cool.
So, which means they're going to push that further. That's the beginning point for them. So as they evolve the conversation and find, like, oh, you do this with your thumb or your shoulder or your elbow, like, it's all improved, and it's now we've outsourced part of the thinking and the improvement. So anybody want to hear my definition of yoga?
Yes, we do.
So I evolved.
Yeah, I can't believe we done it. Mario.
I can talk to you about the traditional practice, what we call the inherited practice. I can talk to you about 100 different perspectives that come from Indian philosophies. I've wrestled with this question, what is it that we are even doing in these classes? And the thing I keep coming back to is the magic of every class you'll ever take, of any style, is you're feeling your body. And most of us are numb to our bodies. We treat our bodies sort of like our laptops. And anybody that rationally annoyed when your laptop stops working? It's like this marvel of engineering. And you just, like, the second anything goes wrong, that's how we treat our bodies. Like, it should just work without our attention. And so let's take an inhale together. Smooth, expansive. When you start to orient your attention in your body, there's nothing, like, mystical about it. You're literally just connecting to the thing that you are. One of the questions we ask is, does anyone believe that there's a difference, like a separation between your mental and physical? And there's normally one person, and then we'll get into it. And I love the dialectic, I love the conversation. But it's the view of this practice that there is no distinction. If you really think your mental and physical are separated, just get some brain imagery going and see what happens to your mental. My father had a few strokes, having a stent put in, and his body's still alive. I can go talk to my dad, but my father's gone. He can't remember what just happened. He'll eat 30 slices of toast in a day. because he didn't know he just asked toast.
Can you explain to us how that equals, they're different, they're the same?
Well, so his physical brain got damaged, and my dad disappeared. So if you value you, which I hope you do, and your personality and your preferences and your creativity, like if you are ignoring your body, there's a consequence. You getting as little as 6 hours sleep has crazy impacts on the likelihood of degenerative brain diseases. Okay, so if you don't sleep, you ruin your brain, you have mental problems. The example that Matthew Walker uses in Why We Sleep, which is a required reading book, is for a teacher, just in life. He uses Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher lived by this ethos that I'll sleep when I'm dead, and they both had very early onset brain diseases. It's like, yeah, maybe get some sleep. So I hope I horrified you just like a little bit to kind of maybe invest a little bit in this thing so that because the goal that we have in our classes is that anywhere that comes out of our mouth is supporting you in being able to get on and off the floor and play with your great grandkids. If you don't have kids, your great grandbabies, great grandpuppies, kitties, all the things.
Or, mom, scrub the floor,
I'm excited about you being able to be the 90-year-old at Thanksgiving. They're like, man, they're so active. Shop is at the tag at 103. Like,
Did you say 103?
103. Yeah.
Oh, at one of them. For some reason, I was like, are they in room 103? Like, where did that come from?
Go well about. So let's take a deep inhale together, and if I could leave you with one tool that we could transmit while sitting our butts in the chair, is you can't solve a problem unless you know you have a problem. The compression that's happening at your pelvis, the joints that hold your pelvis together, and then the lower lumbar vertebrae, is you can feel it if you just orient it. So close your eyes again. If the room spins, you can keep your eyes open, but if you're comfortable closing your eyes, close your eyes. You don't move. It's weird to feel your body without moving, but take a deep inhale, which is just smooth willingness, and feel your rear end on the chair. That's it. Feel that there's, it almost feels like the chair is pushing up on you, doesn't it? At the very least, there's pressure where you interface with the chair. And when we're insensitive to that, that's what gets us in trouble. And so weirdly, just the practice of feeling whatever is there, good, bad, weird, uncomfortable, subtle, really clear. Take one more deep breath. And we'll just see if we can switch the feeling of how your tush feels on the chair. All you're going to do is take a deep inhale and come back to the room. You can open your eyes. Grab your knees. This isn't, you don't have to do this perfectly. Don't worry about doing this right. But I want you to imagine you could do two things. Call this a push-pull. Without swinging my arms, the direction my arms would continue swinging. If my knees weren't in the way, you're going to push down on your hands and on your chest. That's the easy part. The hard part requires a little bit more hip mobility. I have very short little T-Rex arms, so I can just reach my knees. So I'm pushing down to arch the chest, and grab your knees. I want you to imagine your pelvis was a bowl of water. Try to tip the pelvis forward like you're pouring water out of the front. You do that by pulling with your fingertips. Just a little pull. Anybody feel their back turn on?
Y'all look good. Look nice.
Yeah, they're totally different.
Hi, welcome. Come on in.
We just did the secret to meeting wife. So it's
Sorry, you good. It is being recorded.
And now take a breath. First of all, it feels weird. Probably this is not how you were sitting the whole time, so Lisa. It's like, he's going to judge my posture. And I'm falling asleep. I've been away for so long.
How does he know?
She's listening so intently. So first, feel that it just feels a little different. Awesome. Our goal is that this feels normal. You'll notice that we've been sitting like this the whole time. It becomes effortless if you practice. Like if you play the violin, playing the violin, you totally get better at it if you practice. The other thing is take a breath, and can you feel that it's a different part of your rear end touching the chair? And that there's just a flavor to it. And we're not really in a foodie phase right now, but I like collecting experiences and skills. I decided to learn how to cook. I bought all these cookbooks, and I realized I don't know what these guys want me to taste. So I started going to Michelin star restaurants. And my favorite thing about it is how it slows you down. And over a 3-hour thing, you have an experience. Like, it's not just like a boring, like, oh my God. It's like, they take you on a journey where flavors are layered and like, you're being taken care of and you can't make a wrong move. It's really a magical thing when it's well done. And this feeling, like the ability to taste the subtle flavor in a Michelin star restaurant, can you actually do that to what your rear end feels like on the chair? And the way we describe it is, imagine that your job actually as a yoga practitioner is to become a connoisseur of body sensations, like an expert in your own body sensations. And so it's hard to listen to me maybe and feel your rear end, but like if you take a deep inhale, you can oscillate in. And the fact is, you just did yoga. You didn't need to do a cool pose. You're more connected to your back. You're better neurologically connected to the muscles that hold you upright. You're more sensitive. It'll be easier to feel your hips and back next time. It'll be a little bit easier to breathe just because you practice like a tiny little bit.
And it really is. I will tell you that it was really hard for me to have. Both of us came to yoga inflexible. That's first of all, that's very rare.
Not as inflexible as you.
Huh? Do you hear this? Everyone heard it. I'm not kidding when I say I got an award for being the least flexible person Andrew ever met because I was that inflexible. And I'm so proud of it. I mean, I remember my friend Allison, she's very flexible. She'd be like stretching all the time, and I'd literally be sitting in a chair watching her like, oh, she is so lucky.
She's so flexible.
She can stretch. Like, come on, self, get it together, go stretch. You can be flexible too. But my body is unrecognizable. And
She's the main model in the book.
what? Is that crazy? Y'all probably, yeah, because you know me as someone who has mobility, but that is not what started. I mean, perfect example of what's possible when you put a little bit of effort. And I have, like, speaking of like forearms, I can balance really well on forearm stands. I'm almost able to balance in a handstand, but some of my jumps were very lame, and I counted them fully. Which I want to point out, one of the things you said, and I don't want it to get lost in this book, because it's so crucial if you're going to create something in your life. Does anyone avoid, so we talked about knowing / not knowing. Does anyone enjoy being confronted with something that's hard? And right now, when you think about what we just did this whole process. It's your party gift. You now have something in your back pocket. You can fix your posture so your back doesn't get ruined and your shoulders don't get ruined and your neck and all the things that can get ruined when you slouch. It's so comfortable. Not really. You just practice it. That everything you create that isn't what you currently are or who you currently are or the skills you currently have, you are going to be up against difficulty, aka it's going to feel hard. And one of my biggest lessons, I feel like you really go over in the book, but you also have created an environment at Yoga Better with our teachers, with our students, where there is value in doing hard work. Like, it's not so, if you can't do something, it's hard. That's it. Sorry, it's hard. You've got to get over the fact that things are hard. Whether it's being kind to, your 15-year-old and he's giving you a grumpy face, like, it was really hard for me not to be offended. I was offended, but I didn't let the offense come out of me. I let love speak, if that makes sense. But it was really hard, and it's much easier now because I practice it. And so the first bit of you working on something like your posture, it's hard because your body's heavy, and you don't have the strength to hold it up right now. And so everything about gravity is trying to melt you. Like the Wizard of Oz. I'm melting. That's what gravity is like right now. It never stops. And so there's a way you have to be a consistent interrupter to gravity when it comes to your posture. Now, there's a big commitment behind it. You get something out of it. But can we create as a community a value in not giving up when things are hard, which I have seen you do. And I'm curious, and first of all, thank you guys for doing the little yoga upright and for doing that with us. What has been the hardest thing for you in writing this book?
Doesn't sound nice. It sounds a little cliche. How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time, or you don't, because why would you eat an elephant?
And it takes so long, it's not good. You probably
I
have to
wouldn't
talk
know,
towards the
but-
end. Anyway, so it's a big project. We have taken over 5,000 pictures. When I say we, I've taken the pictures, she's the model, I'm doing all the photography, photo editing, typesetting, writing. And why are you doing it? Because that's how we do it. We do it the hard way.
We say in our style, we do things the hard way, not the dumb way, but sometimes doing the hard things the hard way could be done.
So anybody remember the difference between the hard way and the dumb way? It's on the test of my teacher training. So the hard way, so the dumb way is almost always the path of least resistance. And it's the way that gets you hurt. It's the shortcut. And you will find that if you're really trying to create something, slow is fast. Just like slow down, pay attention. And everyone is like, are you using AI? Like, it would be so much easier to use AI to write this book. But for me, it literally is the act of creation that's the point. It's not the thing to sell. It's not the product. It's not the market share. It's my job is to document and systematize and share everything that I know. And the second I write it, somebody can put it into AI and they can do it better. That's not the point. Somebody's got to do it first. And it's like, why don't you let AI move your paintbrush for you? It's like, oh, that's kind of the friggin' point of creating the thing. I'm the source of the thing. When you open the book, I'll have taken every single picture. I'll have drawn every single picture. And that's why you'll know, like, ooh, he's not good at drawing.
I will argue with that because I think your drawings are awesome.
You should have hired an artist. I don't understand what he's trying to communicate. So the hardest thing is, it is a big project. It's because I know so much.
Yes, it's accurate also.
It's a big project because right now it's more than 400 pages. It's 120,000 words. And it ain't done. And it really does feel like it takes work to do every step. I'm on this long hike, and every once in a while I'll look up and I'm like, oh my god, I got so far to go. And the game is, can I actually remember that it is the process that matters? It is. Can I share one quick story that's sort of pertinent about the top 10 least flexible people I've ever met?
Okay, in that case, yes.
So a little thing that some of you know about Andrea, she hated yoga the first 5 years we were together.
Seriously, it
Uh,
wasn't a thing. It was a good supplement. Pat.
and if she didn't like it, she was a terrible student. I didn't like her in class. She was a huge disruption. I love her as a human being, but it's like,
I just thought of, okay, there's this guy that takes my classes, and his name is Todd.
T-O-D-D.
I was Todd.
You were so much worse than Todd.
Worse
So much worse than
than-
Todd.
Oh.
It's like, okay,
I'll
so
do a nice thing. Let's go.
I am creating a marriage with this human being who doesn't do yoga, who doesn't use me as a resource, and who literally every night complains that her shoulder hurts and her back hurts. And why I wish I could feel better, and oh, my knees hurt, and one of the things I promised her when we first got together was I'm not your teacher. If you ask me, I'll totally teach you, but I'm not just gonna like teach at you. You get to be imperfect, and I was not clear at all that she would ever do yoga. And that's sometimes what loving creativity is like too. You don't know how it's gonna turn out. And this project might not have turned out. The book, the teacher training, the studio, this event might not have happened. Like, there's all kinds of things, but you make the commitment, and you deal with the fear, and you do what there is to do. Okay, you put the chairs out, and you put deodorant on, and decide whether you roll your cups up or not.
You let the crown.
Well, that's, I also was there thinking. But for me, the answer to the question, what I want, is I want a partnership where I'm not needing you to be any way for me to love you. And the way we say this, I love you for who you are and for who you're not. Like I have to choose who you're not, or I don't actually love you. And you didn't like yoga. And I knew I could make a difference, but she didn't listen. and part of my favorite thing about the book is at least once a week we do at least an hour or two of photos, and she's the model for the book. Fast forward 14 years, and to me, like, you can't, when you're willing to, I can give you lots of tips on creativity and creation in every area, from relationships to how to literally wiggle your pinky toe better. We work on this. You could get better at that. But if you, to me, it's more like gardening. Like, just be willing to take the time. Anybody know how to grow a plant? Yeah? Awesome. Know how to grow a plant? You're not, your head went like way up. Oh, she's looking at my phone now. It's okay. So you're a gardener? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you garden?
All kinds of plants. I have, let's see, salvia.
That's a barrel.
Mexican petunias.
Oh, petunias, so flowers.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so you, and every flower needs kind of different chemistry, right? It's different qualities. Okay, so, Zebra, how do you grow a petunia?
Mexican petunias.
Yeah,
Well, you definitely have to give it enough light.
got it.
Don't water it too much.
Everything here, right? Okay, good.
Because that's the mistake people make.
Got it.
Water. But it just doesn't, just wants to be. But the big thing is like, it needs to be patient and free when it gets cold.
Yeah.
Because I think it's dying, and I thought mine was dying. But it did. It came back.
Awesome. So your water, patience, not too much water, just the right amount of sun. You had not described how you grew that plant.
Oh, I mean actual physical.
Yeah, how do you grow a Mexican petunia?
Well, you have to plant it in like good soil,
Awesome.
right?
Soil is
You have
important.
to like kind of give it enough space.
Okay, you give it space. So how are you growing it? Ooh, she heard it. He's on the spot, so yeah.
It's a little weird.
So what you're responsible for is the environment that the petunia grows in. But are you growing it?
No, no.
Yeah, that's life. And that's art, that's relationships. It's like I can impact the environment my marriage or my children inhabit. I can't grow them. And for me, it's how do I be healthy? Okay, I drink enough water, get some sun, get some patience. I get a little depressed in the winter. Don't take myself out. It's okay. Be fine. Right. Make sure I have enough dirt on my toenails. Like, all the same things as a petunia. And impact the environment, but ultimately, like, it's kind of back to nothing. If we can keep getting back to nothing, just like as a practice, and being really comfortable with, like, I don't know how this is going to turn out.
It reminds me of the saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So does that mean you lead no horses to water? Or do you lead as many horses as you can to water so they have a chance at drinking? And so without you, those petunias don't have a chance. Unless they're like in the wild where they're supposed to be, right? But you create the
In Florida,
environment.
right? That's where they're from.
I have no idea, so.
Mexico.
Oh, because that is very true. I'm embarrassed just a little bit. I'm letting it go, feeling embarrassed, isn't it great? But I really I love that, and that's another little Andrewism that I really feel like helps me a lot as I'm navigating my life. Like I'm constantly noticing where I'm cutting myself short. And I really do think, I like this other saying, which is, you only fail if you give up. And for you guys right now, us included to the degree that we're included, think about the things that you have cared about in your life, the things you wanted to grow, the things you wanted to create. Some of them you're working on now, and you haven't given up yet, but there are probably many that you've given up on. And when you give up on stuff, it's not a big deal, who cares? There's a lot of things we give up on that aren't important. But there are some things we give up on that are important. And my hope for you, as you're here, is that if there is something like that for you in your life where you have given up and it's still a fire inside of you that's like, it's embers, it's not gone completely, that with a little bit of not knowing, I actually wrote down here, part of how you create something that I'm kind of getting from this whole conversation is you have to start with not knowing, which is trust. You have to trust yourself, you don't have to know how it's going to turn out. You have your commitments that sort of guide you, and then you have whatever actions you're taking, and so that kind of fuels the forward process of whatever you're doing. And so permission officially granted to have fun with whatever it is you are creating or having it created, and permission to forgive yourself for giving up on whatever you gave up on. So my next question for you is, with that in mind, so you've given a snapshot of what the book has. The book is all the knowledge you've gained over the years, all the little tips and tricks on posture, and how do you keep your knees safe, and how do you keep your neck safe, and how do you keep your shoulders safe, and your pinky toe, or whatever it is you're wearing. Like it's pretty, what's it called? Comprehensive. It's pretty a comprehensive manual. I think we should call it a woman, that sounds way worse. Maybe that's why it's not called that. Or lady rule? It's not any better. Anyway, what do you hope that and first of all, what is it called again?
The Yoga Better Guide to Human Movement.
And where did that name come from? How'd you come up with that name?
Yoga Better?
Oh.
Or the name of
I
it?
mean, no, the name of the book.
It was originally, it's.
Well, I don't remember what it was
So
originally.
I like naming stuff. So, can I give you one more tip on, like, creating something from nothing?
Yes, please.
Procrastinate.
What's that? Can't be right.
In our business, my job in our business is the ideas guy, and I do a lot of the stuff, but it's my job to come up with at least 100 ideas a year for a business. We do less than one. We do totally less than one. And what I use procrastination for is if next year I'm annoyed that thing hasn't happened, that's the thing to do. Because you can't do everything. If you come up with a lot of ideas, it's not advisable to do everything. You only have so many hours in the day. I have children, and I have fun, and I have all these other hobbies. The business isn't my entire life, but I actually use irritation for things that don't exist yet as a guide for helping me. And so I literally bake into every decision procrastination. Fantastic. I'm like 17 deadlines past on this book. And every time I come back to it, I'm grateful that I just gave myself a little more time.
I'm going to interrupt my last question with a different question.
Yeah, and so with the title, it's just like that's the 14th iteration of a thing that I actually really like. Movement manual, I like alliterations.
Oh, I don't remember what I was going to ask now. That's okay, it's not important. What I was going to ask before that interruption is, what do you hope that this manual will provide for people? Like, what do you hope that it gives those who read it access to?
There's a lot of commitments behind this book. I'll start with the not so pretty one. I kind of don't care.
You heard it here first.
I kind of don't care if people like the book, think it's useful. I've devoted my life that people feel better, that they're empowered in everything they do. And this is the best I got at documenting it, but one of the problems you can have as a teacher is teaching what you think people like, rather than what you know is good. And just letting your voice be the thing that is out there, just like be you. You may not sell a single one. People may really not like it. But I really don't use, my goal, of course, is that part of my mission in life is that people are free. That if you don't want to be pain-free, you can be pain-free. That if you want to have a healthier lifespan, you're healthier at 90 than you would have been at 70. Like, yeah, that's everything that comes out of my mouth is trying to deliver that. And so to me, it's a documentation, but it might not work. I don't know how many people read. People like writing. I don't know how many people read. And this is like the worst.
You're gonna have to record you reading
No, welcome to the order book.
it. He's very good. He's very good at reading. Case in point, he just did it.
Let's talk about down dog.
That'll be that's my podcast voice.
I would not ever read in a podcast.
Yeah, no better about it.
Oh, you guys want to hear my favorite joke from today?
Yes.
This is okay. So we do in all levels classes. We do these knuckle push-ups. So we get on hands and knees and we do knuckle push-ups. They look just like this. If you've ever been to yoga class, you've almost certainly seen these. Kind of a weird movement against the big superficial wrist flexors. Great for handstanding, great for having healthy wrists. And we were doing this, and I said, "Does anybody know where the energy for this movement comes from?" It comes from nuclear energy. That may be top 10 2025. I mean, that's nuclear. I'm so proud of that. I didn't talk for like 3 minutes after I said that. I was just so happy. All right. So, and this is also, just for those of you creating stuff, this is a weird time to create stuff. I've heard it described, and I think this is true, that knowledge, just like knowing stuff, will be worth absolutely zero. It's kind of already worth zero. And we literally make a business as like the most knowledgeable, educated, sensitive, well-designed, thoughtful movement classes you're ever going to find. Except it's based on knowledge that is like, its value is plummeting. Because what do you do if you want to know something? Yeah, you can literally have like an awesome conversation with AI right now. Like it's a frighteningly good conversation.
It's frighteningly a good conversation.
So if you're creating something, your why kind of has to be clear for you. Or you just like, you kind of have to take the result out of the picture. I'm creating because I create. I'm making the thing because I make the thing. Especially for IP. So intellectual property. So that's the documentation. I'm just documenting everything I know. And so when I die, I won't be quite so embarrassed. Hopefully it's in a long
She'll
time.
be there to experience the embarrassment.
No!
Please don't haunt me with that voice.
What if they
Yeah. Probably not. I really like what you just said there, because I feel like that stops me a lot. Around, like I put parameters, like it has to have a meaning or it has to have a purpose, and I really think I've come up against this many times where it's like I hesitate and so I really want to thank you for bringing that up. And what I'm going to do now is there anything else you want to say? Because I'm going to transition to letting them ask questions if they have
No, this
questions.
is, I am complete.
Yay! So I'm going to toss the baton to you guys. If you have any questions specifically about anything we talked about tonight, you can ask specific questions about the book. You are welcome to ask questions if you'd like to. Just remember, permission is granted. So anyways, we'll sit in silence for 30 seconds and see if anything pops up for anybody. By the way, in our teacher training, the instruction is, okay, good, hold on one second. The instruction is, the first 15 minutes, you come with questions. And that's really, really hard to do, to come with questions.
Why?
Because do you ever have the experience of you know you need help, but you don't know what to ask anybody, and so there's this like, you don't know what to ask because there's so much information, then how do you ask a question? Number one. Number two, it requires you to do something that is very calorically expensive. If you want to change a habit, if you do something new, one of the reasons it's so hard and you come up against yourself over and over and over again and you give up, it's very simple. It's because it costs calories to use your brain. And your brain's like, but I don't have enough, because it's a famine. Which some places are dealing with that, but not. And so literally, you want to wake up in the morning, you want to get in better shape, you want to exercise, do a yoga class, take the teacher training. Part of what stops you is it's calorically expensive to do anything new and different. So, on that note, it's fine if you don't have questions. But if there is a question inside you, trust the you that had the question and maybe do something new. You're gonna,
Roadblocks, creativity, yeah.
What made you want to write your book?
So when I was a kid, much younger than you, I wanted to be a prodigy. I was a very annoying child. And so I was always looking for like, am I a prodigy with this? Like, am I really good at math? And I'm like, oh no. What about reading? And like, oh no. And I ended up kind of being a prodigy with music. I played at the highest levels all over the world as a classical musician. But I did not know I was dyslexic until I had two boys with dyslexia. I was diagnosed with ADHD at like 6. And my mom didn't want me to be medicated, so I never took medicine for it. But what I now know is because the reason I didn't finish a book until I was a sophomore in high school was I am not good at reading. But that mixed with this idea that like, oh, I want to be like genius, but like a secret genius where they discover me and like bring me in to solve some, whatever. And I'll be played by Macaulay Culkin. Movie. I always felt like I had a book in me. And so I kind of had an identity as somebody who appreciates writing. I do now love books. If anybody had been in my house, it's kind of a storage problem. And
can confirm.
And
Our walls are books.
very insulated with books. I now can read. I'm still a slow reader, but it's like my best friend for a while was from Lithuania, and I don't know if you met anyone or hung out with somebody who's from an Eastern Bloc country group in the Soviet era. I didn't realize how optimistic I was until I was hanging out with him. And I realized that's why he likes me, because his ethos is, we're doomed. It's going to be worse tomorrow. And the answer to all your questions is no. That's his whole life. I love Mika so much. And he liked being around me because it was, to me, the only rational position is optimism. And, okay, I'm bad at reading. But I had this like weird confidence that, I can do a thing. Yeah, I can do a handstand. I should not have been working on handstands. I hurt myself so bad, jumping crazily on the handstands like a wild person. But sort of living this dream of, being a smarty pants, but also trusting that I have something to say was the answer. Great question, 12-year-old son.
Right here?
Yeah. There's a quote that's like, art is never, there's a quote that says, art is never finished, it's just abandoned. Do you ever feel that way with your book?
With everything, actually.
Can you repeat the question?
So, who are you quoting?
It's Chat GPT.
ChatGPT told me.
All of us down forever. ChatGPT.
Whoever they stole from. Art is never finished, it's only abandoned, was the quote. What it's like teaching when you improvise in your class and you don't document it. Has anybody ever seen the Zen practice of water painting on a slate? So you just have a brush, you dip it in water, and when you paint on slate, it becomes darker. So you literally, so if you're working on Japanese characters or other art, you can see it, but by the time you've finished, it's already started to evaporate. So it's disappearing. That's life. That's life. Your every relationship, everything you ever create, all my books, like at a certain point, nobody's going to care about anything I write or anything I own. But I study artists, and it's fun to listen to artists talk about, like painters talk about the process of like stepping away from a piece for a month or a year. Does anybody think of like your favorite food, like a thing you like really love that you've discovered as an adult, like your favorite restaurant you found here in town? Do you wish you had waited 10 years to taste it? Like, would it be better if you waited 10 years? In 10 years, if you created something, it probably would be better. But is it rational to wait? And so for me, the act of creating, even though you know it's imperfect, and like just continuing, and then the crazy thing is like putting it out there imperfect. We worked so hard on the pedagogy book. Like I teach like 60 classes a week. We were putting 40 hours a week plus on that book. Got it printed, first edition, second sentence, there was a typo. 4 people were working on that book, so that there were no typos. Second sentence. And to me, I get to laugh at that now because, oh, that's life. Yeah, you put it out. And the phrase is, the cliche that to respond to that, don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. Just create great stuff. And then channel American unearned confidence. That's perfectly fine. Somebody will like it. It's like, because the beautiful thing is, without the work you did 10 years ago, you can't be where you are today. All of life is iterative. It's not linear, but it is iterative. So you have to. We see this in jumping in handstands. You got to do every jump, and it's a breakthrough. Still jumping, and there are breakthroughs ahead.
Anybody else?
Practical question.
Yeah.
You pointed out a problem that I accept, that, but you painted a very bleak picture. And that is, if you don't sleep well, it's going to look bad later on. So do you have any advice for those viewers who might not sleep well?
Go to sleep. Wouldn't that be nice if that was the answer? I hear you, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say. He is a very annoyingly good sleeper.
I'm married to a bad sleeper.
I'm getting better at it.
Yeah. Everything's on the table. Sleep is so important. Everything is on the table. From every medication to every hypnotic technique to every app. And so when it comes to my health, there is nothing I won't add or take away. I'm totally pro-surgery. I've never had a surgery. I'm totally, I don't use a yoga mat. Like, I do everything the hard way, but whatever it takes for you to practice, get the biggest, thickest, craziest mat ever. Like, there's no, whatever it's going to take for you. Lots of tips in books like Why We Sleep. It is a crazy process, and like, if you've never had 5 specialists look at, this is the thing, like, to me, the threshold for going to a doctor is, You have an issue you don't like, it's persistent or it's getting worse. If you, oh, I got a boo-boo, but it's just getting better, like, yeah, that's great, it's getting better. I sleep like terrible, but it's getting a little better every year. Like, okay, great. But if it's persistent or getting worse, you get it checked out. Like all hands on deck. I will not live one more day not knowing what the problem is and not having 7 tools to help me go to sleep.
And you can always ask ChatGPT would.
You're asking the wrong guy for advice.
Well, what I was gonna actually, I was hoping you would say, I don't know if you were gonna say this or not, but, and I don't know if this was exactly your question, but you have really supported me in sleeping to, how's that like?
Have somebody massage your feet
No.
all night.
Sometimes, yeah. But no, that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
But I'll just say it.
Okay, I actually discovered this with my children. You ready? All my kids hated going to sleep. Very annoying. And I could put them to sleep in a couple different ways. But my favorite way, it's one of the 3 things I use to go to sleep. You everybody ready? This is like a pro tip. I would just literally have my kid describe their day in detail, in as real time as possible. Okay, you got it. Which foot touched the floor first? Then what did you do? When you brush your teeth, how much toothpaste did you put on? What's the color of your toothbrush? Like, and I just have them give me details. You're never making it to lunch. In 2016, I decided to decided to get good at sleeping. In particular, the skill of going to sleep, like switching off. And it was a fun challenge. Has anyone ever tried just like, I gotta go to sleep, and then it's 4 a.m. There's a lot of nights like that, trying to figure out how to go to sleep. And I realized I started doing that to myself. That process of lying in bed and in as close to real time, going through literally every action I took in a day. And it took me a little bit to realize, you won't make it to lunch. It'll put you right out. Now, keeping yourself asleep, which is one of the problems as we age, right? You keep waking up, keep using that. You find all the tools, but getting that first crash. Think of one of the processes that your brain is doing is it's searching for context and meaning from your day, deciding what to store and what to delete. It's literally, this is what dreams are, it's running through your day. It's a process of trying to take information to help you survive better later. And what you're doing is you're literally jump-starting the whole process of what your brain's doing when you're unconscious anyway. So if you're just lying there and you can't get to sleep, that's like gold. And it's literally like, I put my pants on, which pants, where do they come from the drawer, which hand did I grab it, like in real time as you can.
And what I would say to
I made it up, so
that was on ChatGPT, whatever the
I never
letters are.
understand
ChatGPT. What I was going to add to it, the only thing I didn't really hear you say that I think is important actually for all this conversation is there is a starting point. And the starting point is that you actually can have better sleep.
Yeah.
Like knowing that you can create a book, knowing that you can do whatever the thing is that you want to create. I personally struggle with that because it's hard if you can't see it. And we all visualize different. There are people who cannot visualize.
Physically, literally cannot see things anymore.
And I think my brother is one of them. And so one of the ways you can sort of tell is if you close your eyes right now and you imagine a red apple. And how realistic is that image in your mind? And some people have a drawing. Mine is more of a 2D. Some people have like very vivid, Egon, my memory is you have a very, very vivid, shiny red apple. Some of you had it like it was positioned on a table. But we all have different brains and we all can sort of get to the same place, but it's going to be different. And so starting with a belief that it is possible, even when you don't feel like you can. Like the feeling is not reality. The feeling is the feeling. And the reality is we all can create anything in any moment, but we cannot be right now in Maine. That's the only state I can think of. We cannot be in Maine right now because we're here. We can work to get there, but I know I can get to Maine regardless. So that was not the main point.
Ooh, that was a banger.
You know what? I have my back before I have my back. I didn't know I was gonna say that, now I just said, hey, thanks, self, bye-bye. So, with that note, does anyone else have a question? Oh, we got two, all right, go for it.
What are your questions? What are your questions?
How do you measure success
Measure success?
for yourself?
Yeah, okay. So here's how I'm going to interpret that question. How do you measure your progress in the game you're playing? So has anyone failed? So I will actually say that it is kind of unlikely you have failed as much as you think you have. Because what is required for you to fail, you have to know what game you're playing. And in yoga class, the game is feel your body. But I didn't get into a handstand. Like, the game wasn't get into a handstand. The game was feel your body. So success requires that you actually know the rules of the game. And so what a lot of people do is most people are just in the stands at a basketball game, screaming at the game, hoping they make a difference. Right? They're not actually doing anything about their life. But the people that are on the court are sometimes trying to hit a basketball with a tennis racket and wondering why they haven't scored a home run. Like, they're not actually clear about the game that they're playing. And, basketball to me is very silly. But everyone else in my family loves basketball. I'm not yucking their yum, but it's like, it's just get the thing in the thing over there. That's the thing. And it either goes in or not. And when it comes to creativity, you don't have that kind of same metric, so we have to find ways to measure what it actually is that we're doing. My goal is so when I sit down, my goal is to write at least 2,000 words. Easy game, but it's measurable. I fail at it all the time. Do I write more because I'm playing that game? Yeah. So is that a failure? Okay, so you just have to define what the hell you're doing. So I really don't think in terms of success and failure, but measuring what you're doing by defining the game you're playing super, super helpful. Supportive? Yeah.
Maybe hit on it, but I think distraction is a really big barrier for me.
Yeah.
Especially coming here, doing things, feeling inspired, and it's not
Yeah.
reliable.
I mean, use inspiration. Inspiration is yummy. Have you ever had cheese?
But where is it?
Cheese
when you
is
need it?
delicious. Eat cheese. You just, eat other things too, and all. Okay, so your question is consistency over time.
Yeah, how do you deal with distraction?
What distraction?
The internet.
Okay, great. Did you know you can turn off the Wi-Fi on your computer?
Yeah.
It's very weird to be on a laptop without Wi-Fi. That's how I write. I go to a coffee shop. I have the Bluetooth on because I use a mouse. But I turn off the Wi-Fi. It's just a writing board.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
I play a game called Be Your Best Friend. And so, what?
So nice. I'm like, just do it. Just like be a man. Or you could be nice.
Well, I mean, seriously, like, set yourself up. If you know there's some tendencies, you've got to be Sherlock Holmes with yourself. Like, how does those work? And what works for you? And, sometimes we can be real sort of strict on ourselves to an unfair degree. But I also, setting myself up to win, for example, like the internet, turning it off, or, making little, markers. It could be a time marker. It could be a number, But the other thing I thought of is, this was my idea, this is why I like being my best friend. Because imagine that you work for someone who treats you like you treat you when you get distracted.
Thanks.
Exactly. Is there any incentive for you not to be distracted with that voice in your head? It's not. And so if you can appreciate what you are doing, instead of focusing, we tend to focus on what we're not doing instead of celebrate what we are doing. And I have found for myself, if I celebrate the heck out of myself in those teeny tiny little moments, just like we were saying earlier, I'm so much more joyful. And I get to actually enjoy my life. Because the truth is, it doesn't matter what you do. It really doesn't. It matters who you are while you're doing it. And so sometimes I have conversations in my head the new thing for me is Duolingo now has chess. And I'm telling you, it is hard for me to stop playing that chess. I want to be so good at it, and God. But I literally am having this conversation in my head, and it used to be real malicious, real punitive, real degrading. And now it's a lot more loving, and I'm way more successful at setting it down. When I'm a jerk to myself, I do not perform well. When I'm kind to myself, I'm way better at stuff, because there's love in the space. And so in addition to what he said, just like, that is also a sign from you to you that something's missing over there with you. If you have a dream and you're letting the internet get between you and the dream, something's not, that's not right. And usually it just might be a matter of appreciation, it might be a matter of feeling anxiety. Like actually is literally sitting and feeling anxious about you don't know how to accomplish what you want to accomplish. I deal with that a lot. But creating an environment where you're okay with you the way you are as you're growing towards something.
Ted, that's my answer to your question also. So, yeah, don't do that. That's weird.
Turn the internet off.
Stop it.
But if you turn the internet off and you're rude to yourself about it, then it's very different than I care about myself, I value myself, I honor myself enough, and I'm in reality because I'm not guaranteed tomorrow. And I really get annoyed with this whole I want to enjoy my food because I only live once. Yeah, but is eating a bunch of crap enjoying your life? I feel so bad after I do that. And my relationship with this specific thing is that when I was hard on myself for what I ate like crap. Because there was something not well within myself. I was struggling, but I wasn't there for me.
What's the phrase you use
What is the phrase I use?
for weight loss?
It's embarrassing. It can be on a Hallmark card. It's called love your weight off. So love the internet off. I love you so much, self, I'm turning the internet off for you. It's like a kind thing you're doing for yourself. Versus now I'm a bad person and I suck and I'm never gonna get what I want and I should give up and blah 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 blah.
Just a quick note on choosing a partner. Make sure many of you have heard me say, I want to be Andrew when I grow up. So, finding somebody that's different than you, I'm a huge influence in her life, but you saw the difference in our answers. I love solving problems. Give me a problem, I'll solve it for you. But what she said was, one of the many things that was brilliant, it's when she says who you're being, it's the why you're doing the thing. I have to be focused and get this accomplished, or whatever you fill in that blank with, that's your motivating factor. You see how that leads so many people astray, where I have to get a 4.0, fill in the blank, and then because I need to get a good college, so they get a good job, so I can have a lot of money, and then they have all the things, and are they happy? No. Because none of that, the whole time they weren't practicing being happy. So anyway, try to find a happy person, and then marry that person. That's my little spiel. If you can't enjoy the thing, you're done. You have to be able to enjoy the process of developing handstands, the process of being bad at sleeping, and the process of realizing that your wife is a much better coach than you.
That was a universal statement.
Yes. In all things, especially knee function.
Yay.
And sparkly shoes.
I love my sparkly shoes. May I wear them forever until I don't. So, on that note, I just would like to say thank you so much for sharing you with us, for putting pen to paper or finger to keyboard, both, and inventing this whole conversation where we all have the opportunity to feel better, for simplifying and caring enough and being willing to be uncomfortable to do all that work. For all of this, there's a lot of things you could have done today, right now, this moment. There's a lot of places you could be, there's all kinds of stuff. And what is really true is that the only currency we have in life is our time. Just our time, that's all we got. And that you would be here listening to this conversation with your butt in the chair is such an honor. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support and your love. And with that note, I will say, if there is any support you do need around a dream, or if you do forget how wonderful and lovely you are, know that I'm here for you till forever, especially for my children. And let us know how we can support you, because it's what this is all about. It's about creating a world where we're not, this is mine, get away, but like, no, together we all get to float like a boat with a tide. Down a moat that is wearing a
I've got
coat.
like cat in
Down boat with a tote. Both showed. Yeah. Okay, thank you guys so much.
Now go to bed.
Huh?